everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Bulletproof Dental Practice podcast. We've got Pete and I talking today about a concept that I hold very near to my heart. And the title is Go Alone, Go Fast, Go Together, and You'll Go Far. And I've learned that I'm almost 50 now, Pete. Can you believe that? Don't look a day over 49.
I hear about your ailments all the time. Matter of fact, you're ailing
Yeah.
as we speak.
Yeah, I hurt my shoulder. It's all good. It'll come back. So I've learned a lot in these 50 years. And one of the things is that you discover your strengths and your weaknesses. And you try early on in your career to be great at everything. And sometimes it's just murderously hard to be good at certain things. You just want to take them out of your wheelhouse. And that's where you get the saying, go together, go far. You need to surround yourself with people that mitigate your weaknesses and enhance your strong suits. And I know we don't plan on saying this, but I was having a conversation with one of our mastermind attendees, and I was talking to him about how he's not great at the business of dentistry. He hates it. He's not good at it, but he's a super accomplished clinician. And he's got this junior partner, or this guy that wants to work with him and become a partner, who used to be an accountant and loves the numbers and loves the nuances of it. I'm like, bro, this is beautiful. This is the most amazing thing that you could tell this guy, hey, I'll teach you the next 20 years of dentistry that I've learned, or the 20 years I've learned in dentistry, in about 3 years. And guess what? It'll be your job, your functional responsibility, your functional portion of the ownership to whittle this business and get it exactly profitable and watch the numbers and all that stuff. So it's a beautiful concept. And I think when people think of ownership, they think of oh, do you think like an owner and we're going to have duplicate responsibilities? It's really interesting to see ownership as functional, and you get that stuff, I'll handle this stuff.
Yep.
And bringing it back to you and me, Peter, I have a lot of great ideas, and I think I bring a lot of value, but I know my value as an educator, I guess in dentistry, I guess we call ourselves educators, maybe. I don't know. Educator sounds good to me. It would not be nearly as powerful if I wasn't partnered with you. So I think in life, you have to look at surrounding yourself with people that cover your weaknesses and embellish your strengths. And that's what we have together.
Yeah.
And why is this all important, Peter?
Well, look, I think it's important because in the beginning, you hear the expression when you're grinding, you fake it until you make it, right? And you do this and you're so full of, and I was guilty of it as well, just wanting and desiring to be good at everything. And if you weren't, just kind of keep plugging along and acting like you were. And I think the real genius starts coming when you could acknowledge and get your ego out of the way, which, I think comes with a little age and wisdom, is that you get your ego out of the way and become self-aware with where your superpower really lies. And then you're right, divide and conquer. It's not so much me do everything, I'm at the top and I'll delegate. It's you handle this because you're really good at it and you like it. Typically people who like stuff are really good at it, right? And I'll handle this capacity. And so it's to divide and conquer, especially in partnerships. But not only just that is an ownership mentality, so it just, I agree with you, but that alignment happens widespread, meaning it happens at a partnership level. It happens at a team level. You have to get everyone rowing the boat towards the common mission, which brings up a whole nother thing, Greg. If you don't communicate that mission to people, right?
And sometimes they don't know of that, by the way.
If you don't communicate that or communicate your weakness, hey, I really don't enjoy this. I'm not going to act like I do. I think just communication is everything. And I am the most guilty of that. I am a horrible communicator. I under communicate as to a
we all
fault.
do. We all do.
I think you're pretty good at communicating.
No, but I'm just saying, when it comes to mission and vision, we're talking to our friends, we're talking to the people that are on equal footing as us, other owners or leaders. We're talking to them all the time. So we figure, geez, I must have told my team this 100 times,
right.
But no, you've just told all your friends this 100 times. So we under communicate our mission, our vision, our why. That's always under communicate. That's not just dentistry. That's like,
in life.
Harvard School of Business, like statistically speaking, CEOs are renowned for under communicating their vision to their own people. They're communicating like crazy to everybody else. But then, so there's that one layer that I want to point out that Peter just said, like, what are you good at? What are you not good at? And then having the ego to say, even though I'm not good at this, I still add value over here, and I'm going to fill someone into that weakness. And by the way, you could be having a conversation with one of your team members and just be like, I really don't enjoy doing this.
I used to think that
Spreadsheets,
would
for
make me a
example.
weak leader, Craig. I
Right.
used to think like that. Oh, if I identify a vulnerability and someone knows that, does it make me a horrible leader? Right? Will they?
Yeah,
Will
but the
they?
funny thing is, Peter, people
I
know our
understand now.
weaknesses. They
I'm
know
just
our weaknesses already. So you
right.
call it out. It's like the art of war by Lao Tzu. Like, you don't pretend to be strong when you're not. You pretend to be weak where you're. That's a whole other podcast. But the idea is that you can have a conversation, get back to communication with like your
Well,
hygienist. I hate doing this. I'm not good at this. I'm like, oh, well, I got a degree in that. I love doing that. And it's just like amazing when you
well, the whole reason we wanted to pod about this, is because you and I spoke about so much CE that we've done in our life, so much training that we've done, but really when the magic happened, um, meaning we would go off to CE, come back fired up, and no one else would know about the education we received or the experience we received. And we would come back, and it'd be really hard to vicariously give someone that same energy, like, let's do this, and everyone's like, well, okay, cool, but I don't know what you did, and then it's hard to maintain that momentum.
well, it's just hard to get traction. So
Traction.
knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power.
But some of
It's
the
the
most powerful
execution
things,
that's powerful.
where I was going with that is, obviously we've done a lot of CE and continuing ed by ourselves. And then but some of the most powerful things have been able, when we've actually been able to have it attend as a team function, meaning whether that was just CE or whether it was,
A
an
quarterly
annual
meeting where you take
meeting,
the time
quarterly
off.
meeting. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you get together and learn as a team. Not only does it strengthen your culture, we always talk about culture and in like the things that get amplified on social media, but like learning together is a very powerful unification of your team. And that is a cultural augment, in my opinion. You get stronger, you learn together, you've experienced it together. So if you have a weak culture, I would encourage you to find some learning, find some learning or an ability to learn together.
And also the discovery of your challenges together helps fix them as well. So there's a lot of CE for doctors out there. There's a lot of practice management. There's a lot of clinical education for doctors. There's actually a pretty decent amount for hygienists. And
Mm-hmm.
there's some for assistants, probably not as much for assistants. And there's a good amount for admin. But what we notice that's not in this landscape of education is the immersive learning experience for the entire team, where they can all break off and do their own learning, where the hygienist can learn and then they can all come back into one room at the end of all the individual learning and then have a strategy session to implement to get traction. The immersive learning is what's missing in dentistry.
And sometimes, Greg, when that, as you're saying this, I'm thinking like, yes, those sessions were powerful when we went as teams. But I got to tell you, like, I can remember sitting around tables with some, key team members at like, for instance, AOSH. This was at night over cocktails. And like some of the most powerful things that still stuck to this day are the things that happened outside that ideation of the course itself, right? There was tons of conversation. We should do this and we should do that. And so now you've created this accountability, this ownership of we should do versus like you coming back home and saying, hey, this is what I learned this weekend by myself, and this is what we're going to do. It's different when you have a we scenario or we narrative.
Well, you can't have a we unless there was group learning. It's only like
But
we.
like my
You
point
can't
was,
have
there's
that.
lots of power even after the course. There's lots of power in just being in proximity with these people outside of your team, outside of the dental office.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've
in a
never been
away
able to.
scenario, out of town scenario. There's just some power to it, which is why we're getting to this point of like that's why it was really important for you and I as we had these conversations to open up Bulletproof to include more of the team in a very not just a hey, bring your team if you want, but actually creating some education in their niche of the practices, right? So
Right.
that's why Bulletproof Hygiene was launched. That's why this year we're having Bulletproof Team, and so we're going to have these breakouts where we can really move the needle for the practice, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. That's what
Yeah, what
matters.
lights you and I up is literally when we get that call, like I went to that summit and it changed everything and everything's been changing, or the productions were, doubled or got up 50%, teams all aligned. I mean, we don't do this to just to listen to our own self speak, but it's the traction. So what I've learned is you can provide massive value to people and they don't make any action on it. That's the worst. We've all done it.
Mhm.
We're all guilty of it. If I go somewhere alone and it's really good stuff, really good business information, immediately I'm like, oh shit, I don't have somebody else here. You know what I mean? Like you need to have that alignment. You need to be on the same page. That's why you're constantly sharing articles with me. Read this, check out this, that's what brings attraction. And it feels good to be educated, but you wind up spinning your wheels and you wind up getting frustrated and then just not implementing it a bit.
And I think even right now, Craig, with the environment that's going on, people are desperately seeking this sort of thing. With the COVID going on and us being isolated, I think people are desperately craving, you know, any sort of environment. That's why, honestly, this summit has already the early bird sold out in like 48 hours. I think because people
48 hours is freaking crazy.
are really excited about the aspect of coming and learning and being around other people, and that's why we got this big ass resort and kind of booked out the whole thing so we could have a contingency in case COVID was still a big talking point, right? We have a COVID contingency because it's really important. Like my team is missing interaction like this, being able to get together and have proximity to each other. So I'm sure your team is as well,
Yeah, I got a lot of people on my actual team that want to come, which is
right.
good, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important because I think that when we're struggling in practice as dentists, we immediately go to let me figure out more things to sell. So what does that mean? That means sleep apnea, Invisalign training. I mean, that stuff is great. Don't get me wrong, but you really you're spinning because you're taking on more services and more ability to generate revenue on patients. But if your culture's ailing, if your systems are archaic, if your marketing's not right, if your leadership's not right, it's the biggest hole in the back door. And it's like you're bailing on a boat that has holes in it. So I think it's important to talk about that. I mean, I was very lucky because, I went to some of those Tony Robbins courses early on in my, maybe 10, 7, 8 years ago. And everybody would tell me like, bring your wife. I'm like, my wife's not into it. I'm like, well, you better bring your wife because there's this one Tony Robbins thing called Date with Destiny. And it's kind of mockingly referred to as date with divorce. And the reason it's such is that if you go, I mean, from what I understand is
without your spouse, right? And
right.
you come to this realization like, oh my gosh, what am I doing in my life?
Well, no, even that you
You're not
come
the right
home like,
person.
well, not even that. It's like you come home like, oh my God, to your spouse, life's going to be great. Like, I want the old you back. Who is this new you? Because all the energy was created without you and people get insecure and nervous. So there's a certain amount of energy that wants to keep your office as it is. Everybody's comfortable. People are inherently scared of change. They say they like change, but people really don't like change. They don't like change that they cannot control. So imagine you go off to some seminar, you got 6 people in your office, you come back and like, guys, everything's gonna be different. Doesn't matter. They're scared. So if you can co-create what the future looks like and bring everybody back, and there is something about being in an immersive environment. If you said the exact same things we're gonna say in that seminar to your team, and it came out of your mouth versus coming out of Peter's mouth, it's gonna land on people differently.
Differently. Yeah, totally. It's funny, Craig, you say that. I had a team member for so long that was so fearful of change, and she acknowledged it, that she would actively almost campaign against like making any changes, which i.e. was growth, because it was just scary. And why are you changing it? Everything's good. Like, what are we doing? Just leave it alone, kind of thing, because change is scary. And what does this new look, what does this quote unquote new look like for her? Right. And so she liked consistency, predictability, which honestly sometimes can turn into stagnation. So yeah, change is scary, but you got to feel that fear and do it anyway.
Well,
And
I think sometimes
constantly.
the biggest risk is not changing at all because life is changing. I mean, look at this last year. Look at 2 years from a cultural standpoint. I'm not even talking about like just COVID. I'm just talking about culturally, things are flipping on its head.
Right.
Like people are demanding to see deeper levels of understanding to their dentist. Like if you don't have like an about you beyond your dentistry on
Right.
your bio or your website, if they can't access more video or photos of you, they're gonna be scared of you. So it's just, you know, I hear people that say
You
change
mean
is,
potential patients, you're saying?
yeah, potential
Yeah.
patients.
Yeah.
They need to have everybody's used to having a very detailed level of understanding of what they're going to transact with before they do it. You can take a
Right.
virtual tour of your car or your house. They want the same thing with your doctor. They want to test drive the doctor and then test drive the results. And I just think that people think they're being safe by not changing, and you're actually
Yeah.
most at risk. The greatest risk is not innovating.
It's so funny you say that. Like I always tell people, they're like, "What should I do? You know, market this, market that." I'm like, "Look, I just looked at your website. You don't even have a
Yeah.
picture of you on the site. Like
Right.
that's freaking scary because
Right.
if I was a
Nothing.
potential patient, I know we're going off a tangent here, but like
No, it's so important. It's
such an
so
easy
important.
low hanging fruit.
You know how many times I look at those website Google My Business pages, and their offices are beautiful, but there's no photos of it.
Yeah,
Or they have a cartoon, a funny cartoon of their office. I'm like, you're an attractive provider. You have a lot to say. You could just shoot any type of video, and don't get intimidated
well,
by
you're talking
Boulden's.
about video. You're talking about video. I'm
I'm
even
talking
talking
about
about
anything.
just a picture of Dr. Smith, right? Dr.
Yeah.
Jones, whatever. And like you can't find one. It's like, okay, and talk about like a low hanging fruit. Dentistry is like I always say, dentistry is scary. Remove the barriers to entry. Here's a picture. Even better, here's a video. Look how great I am. Look, I'm talking on video. I'm not that scary. Come into my office. Like that's magic right there.
Right.
Right?
Or, hey, it's Dr. Jones. I want to talk to you about the 5 questions I always get asked.
Yeah.
Is it true that silver fillings contain mercury? Why, yes, they do. Why did you
Yeah.
get into dentistry? I love helping people. Anything that you say.
Anything. Here's my
Anything.
dog. Here's my dog
Yeah.
Fido.
Yeah.
Like anything
Yeah.
that shows you, yes, about you. God, we just went off
No, but
topic
it's true.
there.
It's true. It's true.
But there's such little things that people can do that going back to the summit, we talk about a lot of these things. It's just don't come for the level 8 and 9 tactics and tips and tricks, although there will be some of that for marketing. But like the post-op call and the pictures on your website and the videos and pictures of your team, like those are things to do before, please,
Yeah.
because such an easy and high return of your time and effort. High return on your time and effort. You're
That is for
smiling.
sure.
You're smiling because I think something just popped in you. I can tell
No,
when you
I
like.
just I smile because I have all these memories, great memories of just working with our mastermind group of
Mhm.
like, hey, that thing you did, like we had these intake calls early on because it's almost been a full year, and we
Mhm.
wrote down what did you want to accomplish? If you
Mhm.
had a magic wand, what are the things? My culture sucks, and this is going on, the production, and even with COVID, one by one, they're all like, I am kicking ass now.
And even the production, like some of those goals
Yeah.
for production scared the shit out of me. I was like, damn, we're gonna
Yeah,
be able to
the
help
guy I was
this.
talking to this morning, he wanted to do 1 million. He did 1,000,001 with COVID. So his goal was pre-COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool.
That is cool.
That's why I was smiling, because it's just so simple. And I love to circle back. I'm like, well, what changed? What did you do? And if anybody ever says to me, well, it was you that helped me, I'm like, no. What did you do? What did you do? What were the things that you did? And there's always unleash, because whenever something goes good or bad in my life, I figure out how I wound up there. Because a good or bad result was 10 unconscious steps that you made. The 11th step is like, oh, this sucks. So I just try to retrace what
Well,
happened.
Greg, I do think though, going back to, kind of what one of the ethos of what we practice teach in marketing is the guy, when you become the guide to they are the hero of the story that you're talking about. And they're like, well, it was you. And like, yeah, some of it was you, but you were guiding along for them to make these changes in life, right? Creating accountability and guiding change and saying, hey, why don't you try these 3 things and report back and let's see where we are. And so, don't discount yourself that it was you. It was me. There were some things because we were creating these guiding factors.
I know. I just think that there's been a
You
lot of
trying to be
people.
humble?
No. I'm not being humble. I believe I've just seen enough people in my life where I give good advice and they just don't do anything with it. So some people, and I'm one of them at certain points. My buddy Michael always jokes with me. He's a very, very well-known real estate guy. And I just need consensus. So Michael will tell me all these things to do in real estate. I won't
You
listen to the
totally
fucking
do.
thing he says.
You totally do.
Right. And then one day, like, my plumber will come by And I'm like, Michael, I was talking to a guy and he told me blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, he's like, well, who are you talking to? I was like, well, no, it's just a guy coming to do my plumbing. He's like, you jackass. I've been telling you that forever. Like I have 1,000,000 square feet of real
You
estate.
so are that way. You are.
But
You
it's,
need everyone around you to like buy in before you can like buy
yeah,
in. Like,
I
what do
need
y'all
some
think? What do y'all
consensus.
think? What do y'all think? Oh,
But I do
cool.
applaud the people who take the advice, like even in on a micro level. And I'm not going to Bitcoin because I don't want to get you all started. And who knows where Bitcoin's going to
No, I'm
finally
done.
wind.
I'm done. I'm not talking about it anymore.
Okay, well, you're
I,
done.
I sold it
But
all.
there's so many people that way after you, I was like getting, and there were certain people that made action and bought it at
Mm-hmm.
like 7 and 6 and 5. And there's
Mm-hmm.
certain people that are like, just chose not to listen. So I never take credit for the advice given. I take
Look,
credit for the action that's taken
going
from the
going to
advice.
what we started this at in even the summit, I think even if you come with a closed mind saying, I got shit figured out, I don't really
Yeah,
need this,
yeah.
my practice is bulletproof, so to speak, I'm buttoned up, my team is buttoned up. But I think it's so nice even when you've been in that mindset, and I think that's dangerous, but look, we're all there at certain points in our career. Even if you're in that mindset, it's nice to just come and audit it, or say like, that's a dumb idea, we do it way better, and just audit your processes, because it's nice to just have that conversation. Here's something, be like, yep, ours is better, or maybe there's something to that. But it audits where you are, what you're doing in your systems, your protocols, your marketing, your leadership, your culture, your investments, your financial, all these things, your KPIs, and you get to audit all these things. And if you're good, then man, that was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
So there's two schools of thought on like who needs it. I think some of my best ideas, honestly, Craig, have come from an extrapolation of hearing other people's,
Oh, for sure.
either in business or in dentistry or whatever. It's come from like, yeah, I like that. I like 80% of that, but like, what if I do this? And sometimes it's worked out to be pure magic, but
Well,
and
you're just lucky. You're getting yourself into the right circles too.
right, that's exactly
You have
it.
a very conscious practice to enter the right circles. I hear about your friends all the time, and the friend. It's just getting into the right group is sometimes all you need,
Yep,
and that's what
I
I
agree.
think the true people that are growing
Well, let's
get
not
themselves.
belabor this podcast anymore. Are you done? Are you done with it? When
Yeah, I'm
okay.
done with it. I just think that I want to close on one thing because I'm speaking at the Florida Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry with Miguel Stanley in
That video
August.
is awesome, by the way.
Thanks,
Like
buddy.
when you sent that to me, I wish we could. Do you have a copy of that? Can we
Yeah,
post that somewhere? Like as a,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know, it made me really proud. See, and to be your partner.
Thanks,
See, Craig,
buddy.
I'm nice once in a while there, buddy. See, I don't
Yeah, you're
always
nice all the
bust on
time.
you. I don't always
You're
bust
nice
on
all
you.
the time.
But you
But
you just you just carried yourself well, and you're obviously going to represent Dell, and you're doing it with Miguel, right?
yeah, Miguel Stanley. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So
So I just
that's
said, "Will you do it with me on stage?" He's like, "Yeah, it's 100%." He's
yeah.
gonna do it. It's awesome.
Yeah,
But
so
it's a
he's gonna
specific like.
piggyback on your stage presence like I do.
Oh no, no,
Actually, he's
Miguel.
amazing on stage. What
Yeah,
am I
he's
talking
amazing on
about?
stage. Yeah, I'll just be quiet. But anyway, we're speaking not to dentists. We're speaking to team, which is really
Oh,
cool.
awesome.
Which I love because it's like, look, if you bought this cone beam
Do you think
machine
this is a trend starting more so?
for what?
Meaning just more, we talked about this, like meaning we see there was so much of our CE, which was just dental CE. Do you think we'll see more team CE as a theme? Things
I
trend is where
hope
I'm
so.
going.
I
Things
hope so.
trend as where I'm going. And for a while, I saw so much isolation, and you want to see things pivot. And so I'm just wondering if you're seeing more
I'm,
intentionality put to something like that.
I don't know, but I sure do hope so because the team is the greatest lever that you could use to
Hmm.
advance your practice. I mean, there's dentists tend to focus on, I went to dental school, I'm the smartest guy in the room. And we cut off our teams in many ways. And the power for most dental offices, the second level of low hanging fruit is to leverage your team, to get them understanding why you're doing what you're doing and to invest in them. That's an investment that can pay tenfold. I say all the time, like if your cone beam, if you push the button only half the time it developed an
Right.
image, you would be freaking out. You'd freak out on your supply house rep or whatever. But your team is the largest percentage of your P&L. It's your human capital, not your physical capital, that represents more of your cost. So if
Hmm.
you can make that human capital perform better by being engaged and caring about what they do, you got magic right there. So I'm excited to be talking to the team for that.
That is cool. When is this going? Where and when is this?
August
Oh,
2021.
damn.
this
far
coming
away.
August. I know when I said yes to it was like a year ago, it felt like I was saying it like 100 years from now. The Florida Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry, FACD.
Yeah.
Kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
FACD. Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
All right, buddy. Well, let's I always have this vision of like someone in their car sitting here being like just listening to us ramble. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I get sweaty back thinking like we're not staying on task.
Oh, come on.
Almost like right now.
August 19th through 21st, the Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress, Orlando. Are you going to come to that, Peter?
I mean, if you need me there, sure. Sure. If you need me there as your support blanket, sure.
Yeah, you'll be my support
you
blanket.
Maybe look out and feel good. There he is. He's there. I can keep going.
You just keep doing like this. Good job, buddy. Keep like picking your thumb up and winking at me. Or like just do one of these instead, like you're bombing.
Hey, all right. One thing I want to bring up, and then we'll wrap, is no longer are we going to use the text service that is going down. We used to promote the word bulletproof to 33777 to get you enrolled, and we've stopped doing that mainly because so much spam has gone on that is probably a service that can't exist, and we got notified. That being said, we actually have a network that we would like to, anyone listening to this, invite you all to learn. It's open right now. There's tons of resources. We've created a bulletproof ecosystem, if you will. All you have to do to join, it's very similar to like a Facebook group, but without all the distractions of cat sweaters and this person doing this and this person on vacation. It's a very focused group where you can interact with people in secure environment and some privacy, so to speak.
Yep.
I was trying to tiptoe around the privacy thing. So all you got to do to join, and like I said, right now it's easy to join and it's open for anyone listening, is just go to bulletproof.dental. That's all you got to do. It's bulletproof.dental. Craig bought the domain .dental for us to
I'll
have.
sell it to you.
So there's no .com. Just go to bulletproof.dental, sign up and join and get involved in some of these conversations. For example, we will post this podcast in one of the sections. And if there's questions or follow up or thoughts you have here or stories that you have experienced around what we just said, contribute. Let everyone know like some of what you've learned. It's just another environment for Craig and I to get interaction with the people that we're wanting and desiring to lift. But we learn just as much from our mastermind and the people that come to summits as anyone else. So we're almost doing it because we want to collaboratively learn with you. So again, don't miss out on this because there's really a ton of content there. Lacey has spent tons of time literally curating and consolidating a lot of our stuff. Whether that's some select handouts that we've given out in Summit, you can download them on there. But just join the conversation. Dentistry is a scary, lonely place, especially as entrepreneurs. And so join an environment where people are sharing the same successes and wins and failures that you are. So join the network. Join our Bulletproof Network.
Join it up.
And encourage you to come to Summit. If you haven't ever come, I say this every year, Craig. This one's going to be the best.
Oh no, for sure.
But for sure, this one will. I think
for sure this one will.
I think everyone craving, like I said, craving all the.
They always get better
proximity.
Though, Pete. If I could pat ourselves on the back, we learn and we figure it out. What I love about what we're doing is it's not this. I've been on the receiving end of being sprayed with information with a fire hose, and it's like the questions, the things I wanted to get answered, never were done. So our format, for those of you who haven't been, is very interactive. We have a text your question thing that we do. It's software that we have. So literally at any given moment, you're texting your questions, and the people who are curating those questions interrupt us. So is this going good? You guys want to pivot? Who wants more marketing? Who wants to go to social media? Who wants to go to this way? And then instantly it's like the polling everywhere. You can find out what are people wanting. So it's not for us to listen to ourselves. It's for us to add massive value. And that's what we do. And it's great. I'm honored to be a part of it. I can't wait to meet many of you guys there in physical proximity in Austin, July 9th. Going to be great. 400 acres.
9th and 10th.
Not 400 acres, horseback riding.
I think you're more excited. You say horseback riding every time. I think you're more excited to horseback ride than anyone I've ever seen. Dude, we're going to horseback ride?
You know what's so funny? You ever hear the Seinfeld where he's like horseback riding? What I have to put the location. You're horse riding, not like horse head ride. Like it's such a weird thing. Like, you know what I mean?
You're riding on the back of a horse.
Right.
Camelback riding?
Yeah. Camel
Right.
riding. Camelback? No, camel riding. You ride a
Right.
camel. You don't horse. You don't camelback.
A camelback is that thing you drink.
Yeah, the camelback pack.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
don't say.
camelback. Yeah, we'll leave it there.
These are
But
our
it is funny
conversations, everyone.
that you
Just so
have to
you
put
know.
the location of where you're riding the horse. Thank you for living. I thought you're going to be horse ass riding, like on the back. No, the saddle doesn't reach. It's fine. I tell you, my daughter's into horseback riding now.
Yes, you have.
Oh, that's not good.
I've even gotten the pictures and videos. It's been fantastic. Not only have you told me, but I've got to play by play.
I appreciate that.
All right, buddy. You're the best. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode, and we'll see you. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Take care, everybody.